Dominic Alafaci is here. Collins House, has it been a good year for you?
It's been a great year for investors. The market's been tough for financial services. So many changes in legislation and cost rises. But look, for the year, most of our funds have made between 6.5% and nearly 11%. So we're very happy, and it's been a volatile period. So people are happy when their money goes up. People are unhappy when their money goes down.
Exactly.
But we can't control the markets. We can only control risk, a bit like CrimSafe.
Yeah,
Brett's point there, you can't get everything often. You often can't get everything.
I always say you can have anything you want, you just decide what you want to pay for it. There's a compromise somewhere.
Yeah, but just like I was listening to you give the analogy how strong that CrimSafe is. This is not an ad for CrimSafe, by the way. But I didn't even know this fact until I sat down. But, it lets people see in, but it's the best performing instrument to protect you. So just like with investments, the instruments can protect your balances. They don't always make higher returns when the market rises. So if you take a conservative view, you're really paying insurance for the downside.
Well, it's interesting, isn't it, 12 months ago, how cheap money was as compared to now. Was it 18 months ago, where people were able to borrow $2 million and pay $40,000 a year or something.
I know. It was good. And actually, I had a really funny experience. A young lady rang me up with one of our free consultations, and she had a large mortgage. And I said, oh, look, you've just sold that property. Net of tax, why don't you pay out your home loan? She goes, I will, Dominic, but I'm only paying 1.39% until October this year. So she took...
Gee, that's good.
Take the money out and invest it.
Well, no, she's still got the loan. I said, well, don't pay that out yet, because 1.39 is just... But that's what the rates were back then, and now we're having to pay a lot more, and a lot of people are suffering.
I know, and I'm sick of seeing on the statements a paragraph of saying your interest rate is now this, and it's gone up that much, and you think, every month it seems to be happening, doesn't it?
Check out your credit card rates. Credit card rates are disgusting, 22%.
Well, you wouldn't have a credit card debt, would you? If you had any brains.
Well, a lot of people are forced to take out short-term loans at their credit cards because they don't have an alternative. So it's quite serious in certain areas. But I keep explaining to people that do you really need that extra handbag? Do you really need, it's going to cost, instead of $1,000, it's going to cost you $1,900. So add $900 on over the year just to pay for them.
One of the guys who works for me up in Sydney, he was going to borrow some money, and he said, can you just have a look at the contract? And it was the finance organised by the car dealer. I think they tried to put him on an 80-month term for a $25,000 loan. It was going to be $20,000 in interest. It was criminal. It was criminal. And the guy kept pressuring him to do it. So, your point about, making sure you're not paying too much. And there was $2,000 worth of fees on top of it.
Yeah, gee.
So,
what they call them, procreation fees.
Thieves.
Yes.
Dominic, what happened overnight?
Well, overnight we saw the Dow Jones Industrial Average give back 151 points, or just on 0.4%, to 37,560, whilst the Nasdaq and the S&P were basically steady. Across Atlantic, London's FTSE put on 48 points, or nearly 0.5%, to 7,625, with the French, German and Italian bourses all higher. Gold was $31, or 1.6% higher, to $2,051 US an ounce on Middle East tensions. And I think that's going to escalate, certainly in the newspapers, hopefully not with bombings. West Texas is currently buying $72. It's currently trading at $72.77 a barrel. So it's only risen 75 cents, while Brent Crude is $1 higher at $78.40 a barrel. So the price of oil hasn't risen dramatically as a result of this attack by the US and British forces on the rebels. And the $8 is steady and is currently buying 66.84 US cents, which I think's about right. Gives us a bit of potential to export, and also helps us, those who are going overseas. When are you going overseas again, Darren?
Well, nothing planned.
Oh, nothing planned. When's the Singapore Grand Prix?
September.
Oh, it's ages away. So hopefully it'll be
October.
It'll be a bit higher than that. And the ASX 200 SPY is 7 points higher following Friday's effort, where we gave back 8 points to end the session at 7,498.
Dominic Alafaci is here if you'd like to ask him a question about finance or investment or planning your future. Give us a ring, 133 693. Dominic Alafaci is here. Brett from the Blind Factory is here. Steve, good morning.
Good morning, Dominic. I just wanted to know, what is the difference between West Texas Intermediate and Brent Crude, and when is Santos going to hit $8 and stay there?
I can't answer the second one. That's an impossible question to answer. But I can give. I just to brush off. I have to brush off my memory banks here. They're both sweet crude oils. That's the first thing. West Texas is not as close to the ports as... So there's a little bit of difference in the... I'm using layman's terms to describe oil here. So the taste of the oil is almost the same, but not as good. I think Brent's a little bit better. And it's also... It's not near the shore line, so it's more expensive. Brent crude's more expensive because you don't need to transport it a long way, whereas in West Texas, you've got to put it on a truck or a pipe and bring it somewhere, and Brent crude slightly tastier, I think, is the correct term. Both sweet crudes, and main point is that it's able to be exported more cheaply. That's why there's a price difference essentially.
Okay.
So all the engineers out there and biochemists can ring me up and tell me what a terrible job I did of describing the sweetness of the oil.
The sweetness of the
I thought
oil.
it was a cooking show.
Oils ain't oils, you know that, Dominic?
What a great ad that was.
That was a great ad.
Yeah.
Sal. It was Sal. Remember that? Sol.
Now, he was
Oils ain't oils.
an Aussie Jewish Englishman. He was a fantastic actor.
That's right.
He was terrific.
Remember also an ad, we were talking about it over summer, and it was for, I think, Nicorette patches. Remember? No, Gary, no. No, Gary. Remember Gary?
They were excellent.
He wanted to
weren't
set
they?
fire to it all the time, and those people turned up, no, Gary, no.
But my favourite ad, the maybe I can just diverge a bit, is where the Italian gentleman goes into the confessional and he says to the priest, I've got a confession to make. He says, what is it, son? He goes, did you rob someone? No, worse than that. Did you hurt someone? No, worse than that. And he turns to the priest and he says through the wire in the confessional, I bought an electric R bath. 500. And the priest goes, what? You've turned. It's a great ad. The people who do the adverts for Fiat are just geniuses.
The other good ones are Aldi. Aldi do some ripper ads.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, very good.
Too.
Thanks for the call, Steve. To Lou. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm thinking of starting a portfolio for my two sons.
Yep.
Is there a limit as to how many shares you can buy? Like, can you just buy one share in a company?
Lou, you can buy one share, you can do whatever you like. There's minimum trades through broking firms. So roughly how much money are you going to put aside for your sons, total?
Depends how much I get on my tax returns each year.
So roughly would it be 3,000, 5,000, 2,000?
Anything between 1,500 and 2,000.
Okay, look, you're probably best to open a ComSec account. So go to ComSec, and then if you're going to buy one share, I would humbly suggest, without giving you personal advice, to diversify and probably buy an exchange-traded fund, an ETF, and probably, if it's a long-term investment for your sons, probably I'd buy QUAL, which is a Van Eck quality ETF. It buys international equities like the Magnificent Seven, Netflix, Facebook, all of that stuff, and about 1,300 other stocks. So you get a big diversified portfolio with one holding, and that's one of the very good ones, but it's a minimum 10-year time horizon because it'll fluctuate, to quote the great late Ernie Sigley, up and down like a honeymoon blind. So don't worry about the volume of the value of the shares going up and down. It'll fluctuate.
Good segue with Brett the Blind Man here as well.
Yeah, well, I was thinking before about the joke with the priest, if whether that mesh you could see through could be.
That's a very good point. Thanks for the call. I remember when the ComSec was first released, and I opened up an account, and it was when the NASDAQ sort of shares were, and I was buying these, over the fence, neighbours giving you advice. Flan, who lived up the road, mad Irishman, love him. He said, you got to buy Indian Mining, you got to buy China Constructions. There was one called Quick Track.
Okay.
All of them bottomed out. I don't think any of them exist anymore.
Oh, look,
Gets your tips off Snowy on the tram.
Yeah, it's
exactly.
funny. There's a friend of mine who's quite elderly now, but he was one of the mentors I had when I was first starting in the industry, and he said he showed me, and I'm not making this up, he showed me his men's shed out the back of sort of half of his garage, and he had a loo and a sink and a barbecue. It's really funny, he had the loo sort of with a little wooden panel to keep you private, but it was part of the men's shed, right?
Right.
And he said, come and look in here. And he had all of the share scripts that he bought over 40 years of working that had gone bankrupt, and he had it
Wallpaper. Is that right?
enough wall to cover a whole wall of half a 12 by... What's a shed? 20 feet by 30 feet?
Yeah.
So let's say 10 by 15. One wall completely covered in stock that had... Penny dreadfuls.
Penny dreadfuls, that's them.
If they'd gone well, he could have had an office tower, but
Yes,
instead he's,
no.
he's out in his men's shed.
Yeah, and all the statistics prove that you've got to be completely... freakishly lucky to pick those stocks.
Yeah.
97% fail, I think.
Really?
Only 3 out of 100 make any money.
Like
But you've
racehorses.
Yes,
You get involved in
So
racehorses.
if I buy-
Not many of them win.
If I buy a share and you own it, you should sell it. It will go down.
I might short. Let me know what you're
Yeah,
buying.
sure.
I'll short them.
On 3AW at 6 to 10. Dominic Alafaci's here. Angela, good morning.
Good morning, guys. I'm just turned 60 and I'm looking at my super. It's currently with Rest, and I've been with the same accountant for a very long time, for years and years and years, and he suggested that I move it out into something called Hub 24.
Yeah, well, Hub 24 is a very good platform. It provides you with, provided you've got a good financial advisor to help you. I don't use Hub 24 myself, but I do know it's a very good platform, and I'd be very comfortable with moving to it if you've got a good advisor with some strategic advice that you perhaps can't get from the Rest Fund, because they may not have the same bells and whistles as Hub 24. But read the PDS and make sure you understand it, and ask your advisor as many questions as you want.
Angela, thanks for the call. To Rod, good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Dominic, I had 1.9 million shares in a company.
Yep.
They had an AGM and they took 1.7 million shares off me.
Wow.
How do they do that?
There must have been a consolidation, Rod. Look, did you go to the AGM?
No, because it's in WA.
Oh, okay. Look, I honestly can only assume there was a consolidation of shares or a buyback or something. If you want to send me the details, the paperwork from the AGM, I'm happy to look at it and let you know off air, because, you know, they haven't stolen them off you, because that would be a criminal offence. I don't think that's happened. I think it must be a consolidation. So that's my advice. Speak to Brian. Actually, leave your details off air and I'll contact you.
Hold the line there, Rod. We'll pass you back to Brunwyn. You know the ad where a bloke walks into the milk bar and he says, here's your change. He said, can you invest that in the share market for me?
Yeah.
What's that online one where it's an app? Razor, is it? Or
Raise.
Any good?
I don't know. I think it's still going. I'm
Is
not
it?
sure. Most of those, lot of those companies are really struggling.
Are they?
Yeah. Australia, it's a great idea, but Australia is such a small country compared to, like, California's has got the same size of Australia. So over in America, you got 50 states, and or how many states, and they usually make
330-odd million people.
So
Yeah.
it tends to struggle in Australia.
Dominic Alafaci, good to see you in the new year. Collinshouse.com is the web address.
And we're starting our free consultations again after the 22nd of January.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
So book now. Get in
Yes.
early. And Brent, you're open for business?
Absolutely. Pop into the showrooms or give us a call and we'll pop out, bring all the samples to you, measure up and do a great job.
Good.
Very good.
Good stuff, Brett. And stick with us, because in the next hour, motoring with